In the heartland of a city that never sleeps, there rests a park bench, an unassuming observer of countless tales. But today it whispers to us the story of Sarah and John, a love story that has laughter and tears, separation and reunion, heartaches and joy, all woven into a beautiful tapestry of life. On a crisp autumn morning, Sarah and John, two strangers, found themselves sharing this same park bench. An innocent conversation sparked a connection. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and the park bench became their rendezvous point, a haven amidst the hustle and bustle of city life. And then, on a day that seemed like any other, under a sky painted with hues of a setting sun, their lips met for the first time. It was an awkward yet endearing moment, a kiss that was a promise of things yet to come. This marked the beginning of their love story, a story that the park bench would bear witness to. But as the seasons changed, so did their lives. Meddling family members like uninvited guests intruded into their tranquil. These were not just any family members. Aunt Harriet with her nosy inquiries, Uncle Bob with his cynical comments, and the jealous cousin Emily all disrupted the peaceful harmony that Sarah and John had meticulously crafted. Their prying curiosity and relentless interference wove an unwelcome thread into the fabric of their life. Their love story, once blooming like spring flowers, took an unexpected detour, leading them down separate paths. The park bench that had been a witness to their whispers of love sat empty, its silent presence echoing their absence. The heartaches they endured were as real as the love they shared. Yet, amidst the turmoil, their love for each other remained unwavering. It was a love that was tested by time and circumstances, a love that refused to bow down to the storms of life. And then, after what seemed like countless agonizing days and nights, the family members finally realized the gaping void left by Sarah and John. The subsequent guilt and longing fueled a desperate to find them. It was as if the universe itself had noticed their regret and hatched a plan to reunite the lost lovers. Invisible threads of destiny began weaving their paths back together, subtly guiding them back to the haven they once shared, back to cherished park bench. This reunion, laden with tearful joy and relieved smiles, served as a soothing balm to their aching hearts, a vivid testament to Sarah and John's enduring love. Their story took a turn that no one saw coming. On a cold winter evening, under a sky littered with stars, John got down on one knee. His voice trembled with emotion as he asked Sarah to be his forever. It was a proposal that was as heartfelt as it was unexpected. Sarah, with tears of joy streaming down her face, said yes. Their laughter echoed through the park, their joy touching every corner. The park bench, their silent observer, bore witness to their promise of forever. And so, the tale of Sarah and John continues. A tale of love, heartache, and reunion. A tale as timeless as the park bench itself. Their love story, like countless others, is etched into the heart of the park bench, a silent observer of countless tales. Remember, every park bench has a story to tell. You just have to take a moment, sit down and listen. Have you ever found solace in the most unexpected of places? Our protagonist, a young man, is entangled in a passionate yet turbulent love affair. His partner, a fiery woman. Together they share a child and a life filled with love, laughter, and far too often loud disputes. Their arguments, a chaotic dance around money, responsibilities, and the sometimes irritations of daily life, create a symphony of discord that echoes through the walls of their apartment. Each time the storm of their disagreements rages, he retreats, seeking refuge under the open sky, on a simple park bench. It's there, under the watchful eyes of the moon and stars, that he finds a respite from the storm, a moment of tranquility amidst the turmoil. The bench provides him a non-judgmental space, a sanctuary where he can gather his thoughts and emotions. With his backpack behind his head, as the night fell and the stars glittered above, he found himself grateful for the silence as he drifted off to sleep. The sun rose, and with it a new day of opportunities and challenges. The young man woke up to the chirping of birds and the soft glow of dawn and made a conscious decision. He chose to strive for empathy, to seek understanding, to fight for his love. The park bench, his only witness to this quiet resolve. For fleeting moments their world was a good again. The cracks were still there, but healing seemed possible. Giggles echoed through the rooms as they played with their child. The scent of shared meals wafted through the air, and their laughter rang through the night. A semblance of tranquility began to envelop their lives. But life, as it often does, resurfaced old grievances and insecurities. The arguments returned, like uninvited guests, fueled by disagreements over his job, her friends, the physical realities of sleepless nights. Each word, each look, each silence, a harbinger of an impending fight. Beneath it all were the memories of better times together. Surely they could find their way back to that. "I hate you, why won't you fight with me?" she raged. The more he refused to engage and attempt a calmer approach, the angrier she seemed to get. And then, a sudden change occurred, but in hindsight, it seemed inevitable. Imagine coming home one day, the air still buzzing with the electricity of a recent quarrel, only to find a chilling silence. Our protagonist stepped into this void, the echoes of laughter and the cries of their young child now eerily absent. The comfortable chaos of their life replaced by a stillness that throbs with the absence of his partner. In her place, he finds a note, the words, "I've had it, don't look for me," stabbing at his heart like shards of ice. His mother, a constant source of love and support, holds their precious child, her eyes reflecting the tension he also feels. The world spins, but in the eye of this latest development he finds a moment of clarity. He looks into the innocent eyes of his child and the reassuring expression on his mother's face, and he makes a promise. Holding his child close, he whispered, "We will be okay." He continued to rise each day, attend to his daughter, and begin to heal both his broken heart and self-recriminations as to his role in the problems between them. In the aftermath, he found himself drawn to the park, his daughter cradled in his arms. The path to the park was a familiar one, a route etched into his memory by countless late-night retreats and early morning walks. It was a path to an unmovable presence, the park bench. The bench was unchanged, its wooden slats worn smooth from countless hours of contemplation. Amid the tumultuous whirlwind of his life, the park bench stood solidly there, a symbol of quiet resilience. As he strolled into the park, the air was filled with the laughter of families. The sounds of children playing and the cheerful hum of conversation painted a picture of everyday life, a stark contrast to the turmoil he was feeling. Yet, in the midst of that contrast, he found a sense of peace. The world continued to turn, life went on, and somehow he knew he would find a way to go on as well. He sat down on the bench, his daughter's tiny hands reached out to grasp his, her eyes bright with innocent curiosity. In her, he saw a reflection of the love he once shared with her mother, a testament to the beautiful moments they had amidst the chaos. It was a bittersweet realization, but it was also a source of strength. He was not just living for himself anymore, he was living for his daughter too. As he watched her play, his heart filled with a newfound resolve. He would come through this and heal the darkness in his heart. With time, he would rebuild from the ruins. He would find a way to turn the chaos into a symphony. As he sat on the bench, a calmness extended over him and he felt at peace. Memories are the invisible threads that weave the fabric of our lives. In the heart of a bustling city, there is a park, and in that park, a bench. A bench that was more than just a place to sit for a certain woman. It was a vessel of memories, brimming with stories of laughter, shared sandwiches, whispered sweet nothings, and countless sunsets. This bench, with its faded green paint, was a silent witness to the love story of a woman and her husband, a narrative that spanned decades. It was their sanctuary, their little piece of heaven, where they would sit hand in hand, watching the world go by. But life is a transient river, and it carried her husband away, leaving behind a wife, a widow, to navigate the turbulent waters of grief. With the passing of her beloved, the bench became a monument of her heartache, a physical reminder of her loss. A few months later, a friend's attempt to revisit the bench triggered a wave of anger, and later regret. You see, this friend, unaware of the raw emotions still tethered to the bench, suggested they sit and rest a while. This seemingly innocuous suggestion was like a spark to a tinderbox. The woman's heart pounded with anger, not at her friend but at the bench. It was a stark reminder of her loss, a monument to her loneliness. In the quiet of the evening, she returned to the park, armed with cans of spray paint. In her mind, she wasn't defacing the bench, she was obliterating the memories that clung to it. The once faded green bench was now a canvas of black and orange scrawl. Each stroke of the spray can was a cathartic release of pent-up grief, anger, and regret. But as the days turned into weeks and the weeks into months, she found herself drawn back to the park. The sight of the graffitied bench stirred something within her. It was a stark realization that her actions had not only marred a beloved spot in the park, but had also denied others the simple joy of resting on the bench. Regret washed over her. She understood then that her grief, while profound and personal, had spilled over, affecting not just her life, but the lives of others who frequented the park. In a fit of grief and anger, she covered the bench with garish graffiti, transforming it into an ugly representation of her inner turmoil. As the seasons changed, the woman found herself drawn back to the park, to the bench. Underneath the early spring sun, a young boy and his cat sat on the black and orange scrawled bench. The boy, with his cat's head poking out of a shabby jacket, whispered to his feline friend about the sadness of the bench beneath them, burdened by its unfortunate paint job. Hearing this, the woman felt a pang in her chest. The bench, which she had always considered hers, was a shared space, a silent witness to countless stories just like hers. She had let her grief, her pain and her anger tarnish not only her memories but also the memories of others. It was a sobering revelation, one that began to chip away at the icy walls around her heart. A young boy's innocent comments sparked a realization. The bench was not just hers, it was a shared space of memories. With a newfound perspective and a can of paint, the woman returns to the bench. This unassuming piece of park furniture, once a stage for shared laughter and whispered secrets between two souls, had become a canvas for her grief. Yet as she uncapped the paint, she realized it was not only her bench. It belonged to others too. She dipped the brush into the paint can, the bristles soaking up the vibrant hue. Each stroke she applied to the bench was a deliberate act of healing, a testament to her resilience. With every pass of the brush, she felt a strange warmth, as if the loving hand of her husband were giving her a squeeze. The icy block that was her heart began to melt, drip by drip. As she painted, the bench began to transform under her hands, and with it her memories. The laughter, the shared glances, the comfortable silences, they all resurfaced, not as painful reminders of what she had lost, but as cherished tokens of a love that had once been. She found herself smiling, the first genuine smile since her husband's passing. The bench, once a symbol of her grief, was now a canvas of her healing. The black and orange scrawls slowly disappeared, replaced by the vibrant color of hope and resilience. Each stroke of the brush, each memory cherished, was a step towards healing. The bench, once a symbol of her grief, became a testament to her resilience and her journey towards finding balance in memory and loss.